Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices for Friday, November the 4th. This is the S&P, and I wanted to just go over it a little bit first before looking at the DAX. With the S&P here, we're looking at a possible count of an A and a B and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for C of 2. So if that's the case, we've got wave 1 and wave 2 here. With this is looking at this as a corrective rally. Then we need to get 5 waves down here to help confirm that, right? So the 5 waves would be thus far would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we're looking for a move down here. Now the wave 4 might get a little bit more complicated. It might be, I can see that it looks corrective here in 3 waves. Or I could get it as 5 waves maybe, but it could get a little bit more, you know, like wave 4s do. But wave 2 was quite complicated, so wave 4 might be simple. But either way, we're looking for a move down to complete that 5 waves. So before we can confirm a top being in place here, we have to have 5 waves down. Now it looks like that's possibly the case. You know, we can look at this in a more of a bullish light as well. I won't do that at the moment. We can do that on the DAX. But just to point out that we're looking for 5 waves down. We don't have it yet. If we get it, then we'll get a 3-wave counter trend, and then we're going to look to build in over here for that. So that's the S&P, and for the DAX it's much the same as well. We were looking at 5,000 ticks up here, and on the DAX here I've got it on 10,000 ticks. So so in this case we can do the same thing. We can, well, slightly different, but an A and a B, and then going up for the C wave here. So once again here we want the same thing as well. We need to be able to get 5 waves down here for this, and then we can look for the 3-wave move. And because if we do get 5 waves down here, then after a correction we're going to get another 5 waves down at that point. Now that 5 waves down here, we need to talk about that a little bit, because if we took this low and high here, that's going to bring us pretty much close to the 50-60% retracement level area over here. So even once we get to here, we won't have 5 waves at that point. We'll just probably have 3 waves at this point. But this is a nice place to create a wave 4 here in this, you know, in this space here. So we could look at some type of wave 4, you know, a bit complicated, and then have this move down here. So we'll have that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we're thinking. We're thinking that we could trade this leg here, and we could probably, you know, muck around with this a bit. But basically, if we get 5 waves here, then we'll look at this ABC pattern over here, which will come back to supply levels through here, wherever that may be at that point. And then we'll be looking to build in over this side down here. So it's a matter of like 1 step at a time, 1 foot at a time, and then confirming and playing the game. You know, we can, you know, short through here and get down to here and get out and wait, and, you know, may be able to get back in at this point, and then we may be able to do a few little things in here if we get that. But this is where we want to be in for the longer term at that point. So yeah, I mean, we're currently in an uptrend here, and I don't have any, you know, I've put a top in place, but that means diddly squat, you know. I mean, I don't have any evidence of the turn here. The only evidence that I really have across the markets is that, well, Google Alphabet that has already taken the lows out down here, and Amazon and Microsoft and a few of those other ones that have got basically the same pattern as this move up here are also down here as well. So those tech stocks are being hammered, and so based on that, and the Nasdaq leading to the downside, because this is really still quite high at the moment, and the S&P is reasonably high as well. It's sort of up here, where the Nasdaq is down about here somewhere, or a bit lower in this space here. So the tech stocks are leading us down. So it's, you know, highly probable that we're going, you know, it's going to slowly pull the rest of the market with it to the downside. But we do need that impulse wave to come into play at this point. So Yeah, so that's what we're sort of looking at. We can look at it in a positive light as well. I'm not sure. We can look at this in a bullish move. I'm not sure which chart that I put that onto, but yeah, we could do it with this one. So let me just get a little bit more data in here for this. So we could look at this still as an A and a B, and then we can look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 here. That kind of works with 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 over here, and have another push to the upside. Because the move down here so far actually is only really giving us, you know, I could, if I can just borrow these for a moment, I could label this here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. I don't have 5 waves down here just yet, you know. I could put this as wave 4 here, but I have to say that looks like a little bit impulsive to the upside there. So that's a bit sort of not looking corrective. It looks like it wants to push up at that point. So maybe I've got this wrong here. Maybe there is 5 waves down here in that case. You know, there are markets like the Dow Jones that have got 5 waves down from the top. But if we were going to kind of consider being bullish, then we would really have to be above that, this area here, which would come in at the top of minor group 1 of 13,300, somewhere up into that space there, and then fold over from that point. So it'll be interesting to see if this comes down and gives us that 5 waves there, because if it gives us that 5 waves, then we can look at this being excuse me, as wave 1 here, and just push this up into here, and then we can look at having wave 2 come back up into roughly the same space here as a corrective pattern in this space. This is where you want to short it, basically. So we've had one bounce off here. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell, you know. So yeah, another way to look at it is really having this number as the resistance here as well. That's another place you could also look to add to short positions. So shorting under here is also good to go at that point. But anyway, there's a couple of ways you could count this up as being bullish here. I could also put this wave 1 here. I could probably put that there as well as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Yeah, so where else have we got here? I'll just have a look on, I can't remember where we were sitting. Okay, so this is on 2K here, and this was looking at the market as a top in play here. So we need, as I just mentioned, this move here. It looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. So it looks a bit impulsive. I mean, it can, you know, if it's got 5 waves up here, well, yeah, sure, it can pull back 50-60% here, can't it? And then push up here again. So it might even just have the wave 4 sitting up at that point, at that stage here too, do you know? Because that's the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. The 38.2% that we'd be looking at this point would be, yeah, around there. So normally I just sort of grab the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree and the 38.2% and put that there for that. But let's just assume for a moment that this comes down here and just makes a new low below this one here, and, you know, bounces off this. Then we'll have our 5 wave structure in at that point, and then we can put that as wave 1 here, and then we can look at this as wave 2 over here at that point, and and then look to short at that point. So yeah, look, that's it, all in a nutshell. I'm just going to check on 1K and 100. I don't know if I've updated them. I haven't updated that. Let's have a look at the 100 here. Let's have a little better look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got that extra bit there. I could go one. Anyway, that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anyway, let me just see that a bit closer. Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, or could I look at that as the A, the B, and the C, and that would leave 3, 4, 5. Possible A wave, but then where would that leave us with the rest of this? That would be 1, 2, that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and that's the A, B, C. Or I could look at that as 1 and 2 and 3 here as well. That gives us what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got this here, which is 1 and 2, which is the top there. Looks like that one is, not that it's a big deal. This looks impulsive. This is all corrective. That's the corrective wave, so it's going to come down. So yeah, we could probably put wave 4 there, or at least a top in play. So that means that that would come down to, could come down to here before going back up again. If it goes down below that, then you know it's going down for the wave 1. I don't think you need to do anything at this point. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that. I think it's the next bounce off the. I think it's the next bounce we want to be at. I think down below here is a little bit of a trap at this point. Don't think we need a lot of those either. I'm just going to leave all of those there because in case we're looking at a more bullish pattern, I'll need to go back and double check where I've made my mistakes. Okay, so anyway, you know what's going to be bearish at this point. We need one more low below here. I've been through all of this here. I'm okay with this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I mean, I've pulled everything apart, so I'm cool with that. So yeah, we need that to be bearish. Okay. So the stock 50, the same thing as well. We've called a high in here, and so this looks like it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, doesn't it? It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, maybe a little dodgy. I know that could be part of wave 4, but it looks like 5 waves here. So for this to be bearish, this is my, I've got a bit of a bullish count here too, so I'd still need to see this, and then down to that point. So we need that. We still need that. That wave C there can be a third wave, of course. And the same as the DAX, we could look at that as the fourth, and we still need that fifth wave. We still, you know, because we're in an we are in an uptrend, you know, and just saying that that's the top is not really enough. You know, it's okay for an analyst because analysts don't put any money on the table, you know, but as a trader, you know, that's a bit more hardcore, isn't it? You know. So it's interesting that we have broken out of this trend channel, which is good, but that a wave 4 could do that anyway, you know. So yeah, so we've still got a fair bit more work to do here for all of this. Having the first 5 waves down is really just the step 1 of all of this. So let's see if we get that. Okay, so over to the FTSE, which is a bit more, I think it's got another, it may or may not push a little bit higher here. Hasn't quite reached its 61.8%, but looks like it wants to push up in there. So I've got 5K and 1K. I haven't really resolved this one here either. It just look bullish. Where are we? 5K and then 100. I can't remember which one we're on, but okay. So yesterday I called a top in here, but it doesn't seem to be giving me that situation here. It's given me more like an A and a B and 1, 2, or even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it doesn't really give me 5 waves down here. So what I could say to you, if it fell out of bed, then you could short it under this point. But I think in this case here, looking at it, it could just give us this move here to make a top, pull back in 3 waves and have another little move up here to finish off at the 61.8%, which is just a little bit lower than that 7.3 at that point. So I don't have anything to the downside here. Thought we may get 5 waves out of this, but we're not getting that. I remember when I counted this up as the bullish count. Well, I've kind of gone back to that again as well. I know you'd start throwing stuff at me, but we'll just have to wait and see where this takes us here. One more little wave up here. We've got 3 waves up here so far, right? It could just drop from this point, you know, and then if it does drop from there, then we'll have to look at this as wave 1, but it doesn't count very well as wave 1, you know, because this move here looks like it's in 3 waves. This one's in 5 and this one's in 5, so it's a bit of an odd sort of situation here. So yeah, if it just makes one more little high here above here, then we can label it. And that could be the top at that point, but yeah, the other thing is that, you know, it could go up one more as well. I don't have anything here just yet. We'll have to chill on that. But I do think we've got a top in place. Apart from the FTSE with the rest of the markets, I feel that we've got a bit of a top in place. So this is the over to the FX now. And I think that I will just bring up our Dixie dollar thingy here, US dollar. So with the US dollar, as you know, I've been toying with a possible A wave, B wave and C wave, and I've given it every opportunity for it to you know, be more bearish here, you know, because we can count 5 waves up to this top here. I can also count up to 3 and 4 here as well. So I guess it's possible that from this B wave here, we could put this as all of wave 1 down here, because I have 5 waves down here, and I could put wave 2 right on the top here and look at that as 5 waves to the upside. I don't think it's the case, but yeah, so I'm thinking that we've pretty much got our A wave, our B wave and our C wave here. And because of that, if we've got a low in here, that means we've got a top in for indices, and we've got a top in for the euro, the pound, the Aussie, and whatever. That's all we track it. That's all I can track at the moment. But I can't do more than that at the moment. So yeah. So it is looking rather bullish at this point. It's above at 61.8%. Not a big deal though. I mean, in terms of, still need to be a little bit careful. See, this is the 61.8% here, and then the square root of 61.8% up here. So we're above it, which is the main thing. And yeah, I need to pull this apart here a little bit more. I had that as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here for 1 and 2 up here, but I'll need to just pull that. I'll need to double check that there. But anyway, looking quite bullish at this point, but might be just a sucker's play. But if that low's in here, then that means that the other guys have got their tops in. So that means that this market here, just the euro here, just looking at this here. So with the euro here, it's come down a long way now, hasn't it? So really, it's, you know, it makes that a nice A, B and C here, just like the DAX and the S&P 500 and the NASI and all the other ones. This is looking very corrective here now, you know. So I'm thinking that what we'll do is we'll treat it like the DAX and the other markets, and what we'll do is we'll look at it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 1, and then 2 here, and then don't need that, and then down here is 3, 4 and 5. So I still need another low down here. So when that comes down here, then like the indices, we'll look for a ABC correction over here, and then we can go short on this, and we can go down into the 3rd wave at that point, you know. That's what I'm thinking. That would be the sort of safest bet, and that would also help us confirm 5 waves down here at that point. So that's the takeaway. It's looking very bad. I mean, to confirm that it's actually an ABC pattern done here, then taking out that low would do that. But we don't need to wait that long in this case. So I just wanted things to confirm, really, of having a top in place and a bottom in place for the US dollar index and a top in place for the S&P and the NASDAQ. And I felt that we did, because I could see Google falling out of bed and making new lows below this move here. And this is like this is down further than the S&P, really, you know, just a tad further. So this is weaker than the S&P, not quite as weak as the NASDAQ, but halfway between the S&P and the NASDAQ. So they're all doing the same thing, you know. So obviously when we come down to these lows here somewhere, having this wave 1 here would make sense, wouldn't it? Because we'll get some sort of bounce off these, you know, off these supports here. This number we've got 5 here, and after 5 you get 8, and when we talk about 8 we talk about group 2, so it's 65, so 96.50 and 97.20 here, and the 98. So this is where it's likely to take place. And what will happen eventually is we'll get this rally, and then the market will, you know, struggle through here with a series of 1s and 2s in here, but eventually this will become this group 2 will become the resistance at that point, and we can also look to add there. We can do a whole lot more stuff in here really, but I'm just putting the shell of it together there. So we're short in the Australian dollar already for this. We got short up here for that, but for these ones we'll just have to wait for them, because we wanted to wait for them to confirm. Oh, we've got the pound up there too, right? So this also too has moved down, but hasn't given us 5 waves. I know my first 5 waves are dodgy as hell, but no more dodgy than I am. So I'll just stay with that. I'm comfortable with being a little dodgy. And let's see if we get that 5. I mean, it really looks like a nice third wave here, doesn't it? It really fell out of bed nicely. So let's just see how that plays out here. And, you know, when we come down to this area here, this 1.1, we should see some sort of corrective move here, and this is the one we want. It's the same old story. There's nothing to trade, then everything's tradable, you know. That's the thing. So you have to choose carefully what you're going to do for the short term, the long term. And I think in the position that we're in at the moment with the markets, having a few short positions for the longer term, just with very small amounts in them, so you can just have wide stops. So for instance, this one here, if we put the stop here for a moment, you can take that's where that's just going to sit really until this top comes in place, and then we can bring it down onto that, right? But I'm not going to move otherwise. So we're going to leave that there. And if that's too much heat for you to take bouncing back up here, well then a good idea is just to work the trade a little bit, take it all if you want or not. But I think it's important to leave some skin in the game. It takes courage, and if you want to develop courage, the only way, I think, not the only way, but one of the ways we can do it is by, if you trade 10 contracts, well then just put in 1 contract, you know, because you don't want your fears or your emotions dictating what to do. That's the mistake, isn't it? You know, once it's your money, and it's actually, because it's yours, it's all my money, you know. Once it's in there, then you're just going to be going up and down with the market. So you need to learn skills to detach yourself from that, and a good shot of whiskey or a glass of red or a bit of meditation or maybe even a joint, but something that you need to learn to get out of your own head, to be able to detach yourself while you see the natural flow of destiny unfolding in front of your eyes, and then you can just naturally pick and choose without being emotional about it, is the name of the game. Okay, so that's it. I've finished the video, so I'll leave it all at that. So yeah, look, all the markets are really doing the same thing. We're just waiting for them to bounce off their supports, and then we'll get them here. We also want to confirm that we're getting 5 waves down, so we want that confirmation, and then we're going to be looking to short over here. Alrighty, cheers.